Regular session, Nogales Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting, 3 p.m. Wednesday, August 11, 2021, City Hall Complex. I call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, will you please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody called to the public? None? All right. Number 4, reports. Report on emergency housing vouchers. Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, as of August 1st, the City of Nogales has received funding for, let me rephrase that, the Housing Authority of the City of Nogales has received funding for 15 emergency choice vouchers. What that means is we were lucky enough to receive funding to be able to house at least 15 families or individuals who meet any of the following criteria. A, they're fleeing from a volatile domestic violence type of relationship. Number 2, they're homeless. 3, they're at risk of being homeless. That's the main component right there, risk of being homeless. So partnering with SEGO, our friends down in Cochise County, they will be our intake personnel, our continuum of care entity, which is required by HUD in order to retain these vouchers. Mariposa Community Health Center has also partners with us along with Pinal Hispanic to be also intake personnel that will validate the needs of the individuals seeking the emergency assistance and then refer to us where they will undergo the usual housing voucher background questionnaires, stuff of that nature. We should be able to get the majority of these vouchers probably in motion by the next 2 weeks, hopefully. We've already had close to 20 people apply, or 20 families, I should say, apply. So we're moving forward with that. A dollar amount hasn't been set. However, there has been some funding given to us for administrative services to be able to pay for what have you that we may need, to include advertising. In this case, we were lucky enough, and I hate to say that, but we were lucky enough where we didn't have to as we had a demand for them. So with that, that's the update on the housing vouchers. We're looking forward to house an additional 15 families in the very, very near future. Any questions from the Commission?
No?
So we're moving forward on those.
Okay. Number 5, discussion items. Number 1, discussion and update on Section 8 Management Assessment Program.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, I had a couple sidebars with Commissioner Bojorquez about CMAP, our Section 8 Management Assessment Program. Because of COVID, HUD has decided to basically kick the can a little bit forward and take our last score from 2019 and apply it towards 20 and also 21. We're currently 4 months into the new fiscal year, at least per the Housing Authority, to which we will start our CMAP process. My understanding is this is a daunting task, very tedious. I'm sure Mr. Bojorquez here can articulate to that. So we do have a temporary employee who will be helping us with this. Carla, I'm not sure if you work with her. So she is working on getting these files organized, making sure that we're 100% in tune with those files. We will then use our applied software to do our random checks. However, our goal is to make sure that 192 of our files meet 100% of the criteria, because we know that audits will search as well. And if we go with a random search, we're not too sure if it's going to be the same random pick the auditors may select. So in this case, it's best to just go through it 100%. And that's the update on that. So we will be submitting a CMAP report, or CMAP, I guess, report come March of next year. So it'll be for the year 21.
Perfect. Yeah,
May.
all right. Number 2, discussion and update on housing choice voucher.
Again, I have had a couple of discussions, sidebar discussions with Commissioner Bojorquez on our status of our vouchers. We currently have 192 vouchers were allocated to Santa Cruz County through the Nogales Housing Authority. The 15 emergency vouchers are not part of this. So with that, we have 170 committed right now. What that means is we have 170 families or individuals receiving the subsidy in the community. The remaining 22, my math is bad today, it's been raining. The remaining 22 are broken up. We have 16 pending interviews, and we have 6 out right now seeking housing. The issue we have right now is we have no housing. If anybody's been following the housing market, there's very little out there where people can go out and rent. So we're partnering up with one of our oldest friends, Santos Yescas, to do a promotional video or what have you out there so we can convince and invite landlords who are not aware of Section 8 or are afraid of partnering with us through Section 8 or just have no idea how it works. So we're going to invite them in, and hopefully that'll open the doors for these remaining 22 vouchers. And this does not include the 15 that we're getting or we have received in the last couple of days. So it is a task. We're hoping that we can get there. Social media seems to be the place to go around here. So we are headed in that direction. And like I said, we should have something with Mr. Yescas there and NCD to be able to get something done. I know he's not 100% there, but he's still there. So I'm going to use him as much as I can for the meantime.
Just for your information, Mr. Thompson, there are no apartments,
Nothing.
okay? Because they call us over there looking for apartments, and we call trying to help them, and the majority of the apartment complexes are full. So it'll be hard for somebody to find Section 8. Where we are, we have a shortage of apartment complexes in townhouses.
And this, Mr. Chairman, if I may add, it creates an emergency issue on our end because we do have up to 120 days to house somebody under the voucher before we start thinking of them losing it. It's not an issue of them not liking the market or the apartment. It's an issue of not being able to find one. So we need to talk to our field office in Phoenix and see how much we can extend these offers out, because the last thing we want to do is fail on that part, and that's not what we're aiming to do.
On Monday, I have actually a meeting with Chicanos por la Casa. They're coming in, and we're going to be talking about issues like this. But, at one time, at Villahermosa, we used to have about 10 empty for the longest time. Right now, we have 2 of them, and we have a waiting list of about 10 people.
Send them my way, and I'll be able to help them.
But those 2 already, they already have a name attached to them.
Right.
But it's hard because Kathy calls the other, the other apartment complexes, and they tell us they're all full. So
yeah, so I have had a couple of conversations with Chicanos. They're thinking about establishing a 68 elderly unit in the Monte Carlo area, and we had some talks. They want some project-based vouchers, 100% of that, and I just can't afford to do that. We're going to allot it 20%, so that only gives them 18 and a half vouchers. And even then, that's a hard commitment to do.
Maybe it'd be good that you're part of my meeting on Monday.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, with Chicanos por la Casa. All right,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead.
Mr. Thompson, are you people porting out or porting in? Who's kind of accepting portings?
So there are some port-ins, and I always get that wrong, port-ins from Tucson that we're handling. That's 2 of them, I believe, is what we have. The Phoenix one that we had floating around was absorbed, which kind of helped our number, but we do have 2 that are out of Tucson.
Well, I don't think it's going to help with the port in. It's going to help with
Poured out. But yeah, and Tucson is seeing the same thing per se on the housing issues, but that may be just because people don't want to live in certain areas. But yeah, there's a different demand up there.
And they do know that they can rent anywhere in the county, right?
Exactly.
Doesn't have to be just Nogales.
Exactly. A lot of people, our clients know that. However, some people of the lower income criteria, it's an issue of transportation. So home is Nogales, driving is a huge concern for a lot of people. So that's a struggle that we have internally. However, as we say, it is what it is, and we're trying to accommodate that. So if we are granted extensions for these it's 90, 120 days for an additional time frame. Hopefully that'll be the solve all, but even though it's the housing, we just don't have enough.
And the Guerrero units, those, is it 16 units? Did the housing authority take full possession on it? It belongs to the housing authority now.
So-
I think last year in October, we paid off the rent, right?
Right, so that was accomplished. However, we're still in the process of taking over 100%. Arizona Department of Housing came down the 15th of July, and they have some discrepancies that we need to clear up. August 18, we'll be able to do so. There's still confusion as to why that inspection happened, because we're beyond the 20-year mark, right? However, we went along with it for the simple fact that if it's needed, we have it. If it's not needed, no harm, no foul. So we are waiting on a little bit more direction on how to absolutely take those. The follow-up discussion on that is, do we keep him under Section 8 or do we turn him into public housing? Depends on who you ask. If you ask me, I would rather turn him into public housing, which releases 8 vouchers. So that helps 16 individuals or 16 families versus keeping him under Section 8, which is only subject to the 8. So it depends which direction you want to go for. But on a side note, the rents on those units are hefty right now. Our reserves on those units are hefty right now, and I need direction to see if the money we have, not raised, but collected through those rents, are going to remain 100% in those units, or we can distribute them amongst others, or if we change them over to public housing, if we lose the money. So those are discussions we're having with HUD field office right now to see what direction we go through. And depending what's beneficial is probably the route we're going to go. Not to say that 2-3 years down the road we'll revisit the issue, but we are working on taking over those again.
I think that you should put them into the public housing.
Yeah.
Inventory, so that Nogales housing authority has
More apartments to serve, and
especially for the elderly, we don't have enough.
we don't have enough. And our 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units are in the highest demand right now. So we can't chase those around. I mean, we just don't have enough of those. So it's a good conversation to speak with Chicanos or La Casa about those 1-bedrooms. However, I just can't commit 100% vouchers to, I just can't. It would just destroy our voucher system if we did.
Perfect. Right, future agenda items?
I would like to come back, Mr. Chairman, and just give the same type of update with our public housing, with our 226 units. So all the commission knows exactly where we stand on those, what's empty, what's vacant, what's been turned over, remodeled, what have you. So that's something to anticipate on our next meeting if we do have one in September. If not, then I'll just push it over. But it'll just be a nice presentation so we all understand what it is, what our efforts are with those 226 units. Hopefully by then it's plus 9. 235.
Perfect. All right, meeting is adjourned.